Hello, welcome to the Knock On KCLR and Scoreline.ie's weekly rugby podcast. We're joined by Tom Crotty. James Blanchfield will be joining us on the podcast a little bit later on. And we've got an unidentified man there on the bottom of the screen. He's hiding his identity for security reasons. It's Johnny Tobin. How are you, Johnny?
Stephen, how's things?
He looks like one of those fellas on the documentary. He said, we changed his name.
We'll change the voice too.
Yeah, we know you can't see him, but it is Johnny.
I don't know what's going on. I can't even see myself.
You're grand. You're grand. Leave the phone alone, as the lad says. It'll be grand. Lads, we didn't have a podcast last week. Obviously, we're all busy, of course. Other bits and pieces going on, but what a week it's been with rugby. So much going on. We're obviously going to preview the Towns Cup final on tonight's show. The Tullow ladies are in Paul Flood Cup action. The Kilkenny women are all the way into the Division 5 Cup final. The Towns played Enniscorthy and Tullow. That's a semi-final. That's on Saturday, I think it is, this weekend.
Friday night changed.
Friday night. Okay, thanks, Johnny. Champions Cup. It's great. But we'll start, I suppose, Johnny, quickly with Sean O'Brien's retirement. So that's some career leaves behind. It's only when you reread his accomplishments, I suppose, that you realise, wow, some achievements for a local lad like himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I was speaking about Monday night on the radio with Sinead there, and I just said, like, the Leinster video actually does a very good justice. The boy from Tullow done good, because there's not too many lads from Tullow who go off and do what Sean has done in the professional sport, at any sport it is, but it's a fantastic career. And like I said to Sinead, Sean has done so much more than just Tullow, like for the Southeast in general, like what talent has came through the Southeast, and Sean has broke down the doors, I suppose, has been phenomenal. So he's done excellent work that way as well, and may he enjoy retirement, and hopefully the rumours are true and he lines out in the maroon and white next year.
That's one medal that he still doesn't have, Johnny. He doesn't have a Towns Cup medal.
Yeah, and he'd be very greedy, he'd want to go after it. So I'd say, look, I don't know, I haven't spoken about it, but I'd say he will feature at some point, maybe not next year, but in the future, he'll definitely tag out for the maroon and white at some point. Yeah.
It's funny, you hear it in GAA circles. I know a club is a big thing in GAA, but like, you can have all the All-Ireland medals you want, but a club All-Ireland medal or a county final medal, which are local club, is a huge deal for some lads. And these are lads that could have 9 All-Ireland medals in their back pocket.
Yeah, all that Sean has won at professional level. He's actually won nothing with Tullow. He was in the Gale Cup final in 07, I think. No, sorry, 06, and they lost out. And he's never played senior rugby, so I'd say he'll come chasing something. Definitely want to have something. I'd say it'll be top of his list too, because I do know the Towns Cup in 2017 meant an awful lot to him. When we won that one. So yeah, I'd say he'd love to win something with Tullow as a player.
Absolutely, Tom. Carlow must have felt the benefits of Sean O'Brien's rising star over the years, I suppose, as well, in terms of people being interested in rugby and jumping into the club, regardless of whether he's a Tullow man or not.
Absolutely, we want to wish Sean the best of luck in his retirement. He has some career, just second to none between as I say, a local boy, just Tullow boy, a Carlow chap, and Southeast, the whole he's represented. He's always given his time, and it's like, it doesn't matter whether maroon or white or not. He's given his time to any time. I think people have asked locally to do anything, and I'd say he got given out to it because he's done so much stuff for free. So I'd say his management company were too happy with him over the years too, and all the free stuff that he's done. But he's a fantastic ambassador for rugby, and an absolute legend in this part, and it's good to see that we have players coming through the Southeast now, as Johnny said. They have to take us seriously now. When you're competing against the school system, and it's very much one-sided, and there's still a lot of snobbery there towards schools, and we do play second fiddle as clubs to the school system, but we hope in years to come that's going to change, and I think there is a realization that there's more talent out there, They're just in the in the big 6 schools, and Sean has been, as I say, been a huge ambassador for that. That system that you can come through, and himself, Tyke Furlong, who else is there? The Carneys. Just different people have come through that you need. That gives young fellas a hope that they will stand a chance, to get to move on and to move up and to get. Look, not everybody's going to get to put on a blue shirt or a green shirt, but if the likes of those Sean O'Briens of this world are there, it means that young lads have something to look up to, and there is a chance always, and as long as they see heroes or get a hero, the kids want to be like that. And I have to say, just look, he's a fantastic guy. Everyone in Carlow has the highest respect for him. And he's done phenomenal work. I know that he's Tullow through and through, but for all the work he's done throughout the county, and not just in rugby, but just being an ambassador for sport, hats off to him. He's a fair legend, and we do wish him the best of luck. Look, he doesn't need luck. He's going to be successful in whatever he does. He works hard.
Absolutely.
We've all seen that. So best of luck to him.
Absolutely, here. Obviously, same as the rest of the lads, huge fan of Sean, and very proud as a local man to see a local man do well in rugby on an international scale. Lining out for the lines and everything. It's still, when you were watching it, a bit surreal. Like, geez, there's Sean playing for the lines. Like, I don't know. That's how I felt over the years as well. I think one of my best memories was 2011 Heineken Cup final over in Cardiff. I think most of Tullow was there, and Carlow that week.
Most of
the county was on that ferry from Rosslare going over that day. Anyway, there wasn't another accent bar, a Carlow accent on it. And I know it was great, and of course Sean doing the rounds afterwards with the Tullow flag and that. It just it was great stuff. But anyway, best of luck to the man in his retirement. Talking about, I suppose, comings and goings in the rugby world, we're going to talk Champions Cup now. And Graham Rowntree, lads, has been appointed as the Munster coach for next season. I think some of us thought, I suppose, that it was a possibility that he'd be called in. They have looked for the last couple of months, but he's getting the job. What do you think?
I think
let Tom go on. Tom's a Munster man.
Yeah, no, that's Jesus. No, and it's. I think it's a good enough decision. You have to keep some form of continuity through. I think he's very passionate. He's a passionate guy. He's proven that in his past careers. I think the players like him, and if I think people saw the Twitter little clip from the dressing room last weekend, you will see that he was passionate when Mr. Van Graham was sitting down, chilling out. He was losing the plot with the lads, and I think it's not about him anyway. Like, he's a passionate guy. He's plenty of knowledge. He's plenty of experience. He has done quite a good job in certain areas with the pack. I think it's the team that comes around him now is going to be so important. And the number one thing to me is that the Munster need an attack coach and somebody with a bit of to come up with something different and something new, and to give them something to give the supporters something to look at, give Munster a better chance at competing. I know it's like we're blessed, like Leinster as the province, so we have so many players coming through. It's just we have a conveyor belt from clubs to schools, to which they don't have like in the other provinces, and it's no good to the country. It's no good to rugby if we have one province and nobody there to compete with them. I see a huge improvement in Ulster. Connacht, they play a fantastic brand of rugby, but Munster need to have a brand of rugby they need something to people to see that there's a progression, and as a nation we need to, like, as a country, a rugby country, we have to have players coming through from all four provinces to make a team. Because if they don't, as I said before in this thing, that if players aren't coming from other positions, if your provincial team isn't doing well, means that rugby starts to fade because kids have nothing to look up to. You have to have that passion. Things need to be on a roll. You have to be competitive, and kids need to look up. Otherwise, we're going to miss out on players that could have played for Ireland, or could have played for Munster, could have played, but there could have beens because they'll go play other sports because they're not enticed at the higher level to go, oh, I want to be like him, I want to be the next Sean O'Brien, or I want to be the next Paul O'Connell. I want to be, but at the moment we don't have that, or Munster don't have that. So I think it depends on that team that they bring around them. Look at the game against Exeter last week. The potential is there. There is little glimmers of what can happen, what can be there.
Yep.
But their execution is very, very poor at the moment. They don't look like scoring tries.
No, the lack of a game plan. There's no sort of solid plan there by the looks of it. Anyway.
That's what I'm saying. It's attack. It's not their defense. I mean, we've seen their set piece defense wasn't great around the line out but their defense midfield and that across was excellent. So I mean, they have pieces of everything together, but it's not rounded as a package, and that's what I think Rowntree has to do. Get the people in to get that whole thing as a package.
Johnny, your thoughts on Graham Rowntree and I suppose the Munster match against Exeter last week and the return fixture this week?
Yeah, I think Tom's on the money there with the need to get a good coaching ticket, but every team in the world really attacks the same way at the moment. Everyone's either 1-3-3-1 or 2-4-2. It's just Leinster, I suppose, as a whole, do it a lot better than what other teams do it, and they execute a lot more efficiently. I think I said it before, the culture in Munster is the biggest problem, in-house culture. So I don't think players believe in Van Gran or they back him. I think Graham Rowntree is someone you could believe in. He's tested as a coach, I suppose, been on Lions tours, been involved with England. I've seen a post actually just during the week on Twitter there circulating a picture of England's 2015 coaching ticket. Stuart Lancaster, Mike Catt, Andy Farrell, Graham Rowntree.
Yep.
Like Stuart Lancaster with Leo Cullen has transformed Leinster. Mike Catt and Andy Farrell have transformed Ireland to a level we didn't think they could. So I think Graham Rowntree probably could transform Munster to a level that they should be at, because they definitely have the players. Maybe not so much coming through, but currently at the moment they have some good players. Like even young players there, Thomas Ahern coming through. He's a fantastic second row, and they continue to bring in these South Africans. Like, keep a hold of these young fellas before they go elsewhere, and play the rugby. So,
yeah, Ahern was kind of a bit unfortunate this year. He had a few injuries, a couple of injury problems at the start, and didn't get his.
Yeah, it's not a great confidence booster though when you're seeing RG Simon being brought in and you're second row in there. It's you're not being reassured that your position is fairly good. Like,
well, the only thing you would hope is next season that you'd be looking at RG Simon with Thomas Ahern. I mean, it's like we could say the same for any team. I mean, Leinster are bringing in another centre. And you can say they've already got some of the best centres, and they have the best centres in the country. But they're bringing in another centre.
Leinster's reasoning though is a completely different scenario because
another All Black.
Like when the internationals are on, Leinster have no centres because they're all on international duty. So that I could see logic there. I can't see like RG Simon can't do anything for Ireland like when he played for Munster. So. I don't know. Maybe I'm miles out, but I think
Simon is there. The fact that you're going to have a lead. You have again. He's not going to be playing international. That he's actually going to be there.
Like a Scott Fardy or something.
You need a world class. You need that. But the country needs that too because it's like we've always had. Yeah, Scott Fardy. All those players are bringing on new players. Gibson Parker. Developing young scrum halves. All those players will bring on. Every team needs. That I don't know what you're going to call it, a foreign player, but that person that comes in and inspires is a leader. And I see that's the way Leinster have it. I mean, they're bringing in that centre because they don't have, as you say, Johnny, they still have the best centres in the country by far. But they've normal experience when you lose Ringrose and you lose Henshaw.
Yeah, like when you see
know,
Leinster having to put Ross or Harry Byrne into 10 or 12 when Henshaw and Ringrose are gone, you know there's an issue, like, because neither are 12er. They're 10s at their best position, like, so.
And I think
Look, I
that's
don't
that
know,
experience, Johnny, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, but I
game
definitely
time.
think Munster culture needs to change, because I always say it, and I support Leinster, like, but Thomond Park is a phenomenal stadium to go to and to watch a game and to be in an atmosphere down there. Like 2011 Magnus League final, that was an incredible atmosphere.
It was.
We were down, like, Leinster were on a high after winning the Heineken Cup, obviously. We were down there. There was thousands of Leinster people there, but you could just hear the Munster support. It was just class. Like, I think that's kind of is in a way too.
You know how powerful it is, Johnny, when you feel a bit intimidated going in as a Leinster supporter, like in a good way. You know what I mean? Because the Munster folk are that loud and that sort of just passionate, like, about it. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't there the last day against Leinster. I mean, when you only have 20,000 turning up, or 20, whatever it was, 22,000 turning up to interprovincial, when those days were sold out and you couldn't get a ticket. And the same, there is constant advertising on the radio to get a Heineken Cup ticket to try and sell out Saturday. So I'll let you know next week, lads, when I'll be down there and go down to the match on Saturday, and I'll be straight and honest with what the atmosphere is like, because Heineken Cup Day in Thomond Park is, no matter what, is
as good as they're going to get.
It's going to be, it is great crack, and I go to anytime I go there, I always go into the terrace, because I think that's just the most enjoyable experience that you'll have, is when you're thrown in, you know, standing shoulder to shoulder with lads. But
absolutely,
we'll wait and see. I hope they can do it. I think it'll be tough ask.
Yeah, absolutely. We're expecting James Blanchfield into the podcast now soon. He's not in the waiting room yet, lads, so we'll wait another while. But Leinster Connacht got the job done last week, and a seriously strong team this week. Andrew Porter, Ronan Kelleher, and Tyke Furlong is your front row. Ross Maloney, Josh Murphy in the second row, and then Doris van der Fleer and Conan, Gibson Park, Sexton, James Lowe, Robbie Henshaw, Gary Ringrose, Jimmy O'Brien, Hugo Keenan. It's the best team you can put out.
Yeah,
but there's the thing, and you see the comments on Facebook. Oh, Connacht are playing Ireland. Yeah, probably, with the exception of 3 players there. That's Ireland's 12. That's Ireland's front row. It's Ireland's back row. It's Ireland's halfbacks. It's Ireland's centre. It's Ireland one winger and one fullback. So, like,
it's crazy.
Like what Tom said, like, the other provinces are not thriving enough. This is like,
but that's the issue. We can't keep a country going in one province and one team alone, because
it's not sustainable, and it won't keep.
You don't know what in the long term. It's not sustainable, and also the fact is, you never know when you have your best team out there if there's lads not come. You know, if lads aren't going to come through from other provinces. You know, there is more fantastic. There's serious talent in the look. We've serious talent in the country. Like, I thought the game last week against Connacht just went out and went hell for leather for it. They played a super. It's an amazing thing. They could try and change their game plan to play Leinster and do this and do that, but they don't. They go out and they play. Like, they have the best defensive record. I mean, they've let in an awful lot of tries against them, especially out wide, and they played so well at the weekend. And I love Jack Carty just in Johnny's face all day. Every time Johnny went to the referee, Jack was there, and he turned and he just turned, like, for Johnny to turn around and goes, "You all right?" Like, you know, rile him up.
Mental victory, though.
But that's what you need, and like, that's what that whole rivalry should be like. It should be in your face. I mean, there should be schmozzles, you know, the odd box thrown, and I know we don't promote violence.
Don't condone that here.
We don't condone it, but there should be there should be the little bit of handbags at dawn. You know, you need that in a game. Look at it. That's what derbies are about. It's about, you know, it's about passion, and I just love Connacht for going out. I hope that they can go out. I know it's a big ask to go to the Aviva, but to go to the Aviva and try and, if they could just play the same, get that same sort of in your face. I mean, there was nothing between the teams.
No, there wasn't
for a long time, and then, like, there's a lot of. I looked back at the Gibson Park yellow card.
Or the red, yellow.
Really could have been a red card.
Yeah, very easy.
If you look at, you see the line. If you look at when the referee is debating what it is, the two linesmen are looking at going, and you can see the faces going. It's a red card. It's a red, and he didn't change. Like they didn't give their speak. They sat there, which I don't think is a good thing either. But you could see by especially the guy that was on his left, definitely looked and kind of went, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, that's my big problem with referees.
Direct hit. He did like.
No, Gibson Park was tracking back. He was stepping backwards.
Doesn't matter.
I don't think he was tracking back. He stood his ground and he didn't lower his body. Like he didn't lower his body. He made no attempt to lower his body. And it's not anything of anything. I mean, we want Leinster to win the game, but it's just I don't know. Some of those it's so dodgy. The decisions to me, like that would have been a red card all day in most games.
It was lucky.
Yeah,
and this is what I'm saying about the reason I was saying about this mitigate or this interpretation thing. Like that's that referee's interpretation that wasn't worthy of a red card. But you could see the two touch judges thought it was worthy of a red card. So they clearly have three different opinions of a law. That's simple law. Direct contact with the head, red card. Yeah. All day of the week, twice on Sundays. Like
I mean, he broke his nose.
Yeah. Like he broke a thing on his face, in the middle of his face. You know?
It kind of had a little target.
Maybe he had a big nose, but it's in the middle of his face.
Yeah.
It's true. So before we move on to the local stuff, then Leinster win over Connacht and Munster to do the job against Exeter. Do you think?
I think it's going to be so close. Like 5 points. 5 points. Well, Leinster are going to be Connacht. I would definitely in the Aviva not going to lose, but
yeah, the Aviva will beat Connacht.
Yeah, Munster.
Hard to know.
You never know. You never know on Tobin Park, and maybe the fact that they've tied down their coach now might give the lads a bit of relief, and they might go to play for him. They might actually go out and play. And I mean, I think to play in Tobin, they didn't play well against Leinster. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's they have a point to prove. They need to beat them. So look, I hope there'll be 2 points in the difference at the end of the game to Munster. And I go on Ulster. I'd actually give the edge. I don't think Toulouse play well away from home, and I think Ulster's becoming a very tough place to go to Ravenhill and win. It's becoming a little bit of a fortress up there. Even Leinster struggled in it, so I think I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Ulster win that one. I think they should. I think they just put Toulouse put them out of their misery for a year. Let them off.
We'll move on to Club Rugby. The Towns Cup final for the men is the big thing this weekend. But before that, the Tullow ladies going well. Johnny, Paul Flood Cup final to look forward to against Tullamore.
Yeah, they're moving very well. Yeah, in fairness to them, I was saying on Monday again, they're kind of flying the flag for main competitions for us this year again. A very good mix of youth and experience. Maybe that helps too. Like there's young Dan O'Brien there who's in with the Leinster senior women, but I think she's after turning 18. She's playing there with them as well, so it's very, very good to see that. Look, the Tullow women are very, very strong. They play a nice brand of rugby. Aho and Paul coach them very well, and they're enjoying it. So best of luck to them in that final. I'd say it'll go well for them.
Absolutely. When is that match?
I think it's next Sunday, not Easter Sunday. I think it's the following Sunday. Yeah.
They're
in Old Belvedere Rugby Club. I know that.
It's next Saturday, Johnny.
Saturday, is it?
Is it Saturday? Yeah. Well, I know that Kilkenny are next Saturday. I think all the final. I think all the finals
are one day in Belvedere.
No, in the Donnybrook.
No, they're not. They're not in Donnybrook because Kilkenny were looking to train in Tullow. Kilkenny women were looking to train in Tullow tonight, and they rang and cancelled because their finals have been moved to Belvedere.
Oh, it's changed. All right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and of course, Kilkenny women are playing Tallaght in the Division 5 Cup final as well. So they're flying it as well. James Blanchfield has been talking quite a lot about them this year as well. Johnny, from a men's point of view, Towns played for the J1s at the moment. Semi-final on Saturday against Enniscorthy.
Yeah, it's been moved to tomorrow night now in Enniscorthy.
Oh, sorry, Friday. It said that start.
Yeah, Friday night there in Enniscorthy. Look, it's Enniscorthy's second team. They'll be very, very strong still. I know their thirds are out in a competition and they're going well in it, and their firsts are looking for a bit of promotion. So there's going to be a big smaggy catch for them. I suppose our seconds losing last weekend to Naas in the semi-final of the Seconds Cup kind of frees up a few fellas as well. And I know there's a good few young lads been brought in and been involved of the A-Heens team. Young Adam Johnson, Fiat Kavanagh, I'd imagine James Whelan will be brought up too, and Jack Fitzgerald. And these are 18-year-olds playing for their senior first team in their first year. So it just goes to show you what work they're putting in. The lads are enjoying it as well, and they're kind of playing for a bit more to give Morris a good ending to finish the season on a high for him and to finish his time, so hopefully it goes well. There's always a classic when Tullow and Enniscorthy meet, so it should be good.
That's down there, Johnny, is it?
Down there tomorrow night, yeah, 8 o'clock.
I know. Wish you the best of luck with that one.
Should go well, so.
We're out in the second place against who have we got? We've Gorey away on Sunday.
Very good.
In the second place, that'll be good.
Yeah, well, we played Wexford at the weekend, and that was the worst game of rugby I've seen all year. The lads won't mind me saying it. It was absolutely. We started off like a charity. My wife said it was like a charity match, and then I don't know. I think it went out of control, and I'm glad it wasn't any longer because there was injuries and brawls, and the whole thing just turned to rubbish. It's the control in the middle.
Rugby
of the
goes
field
out the window at that stage.
Yeah, well, the control in the middle of the field had a lot to be desired. So. But we'll say less about that. And I look, wishing the best of luck.
Absolutely.
They're
close mouth, catch no flies, Tom.
They're out to enjoy. Look, the lads out there to get something. Hopefully, they get something out of the rest of the season. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll talk about the big marquee one this weekend. Kilkenny Ashbourne Provincial Towns Cup final. It's on Sunday in Kildare at 3 o'clock. Johnny, you're on co-commentary duty this weekend again. Lads, huge match. Like, it's incredible that Kilkenny are in a Towns Cup final, considering what we were talking about weeks ago. Fighting for survival in the Division 1A of the league, and then sure, we'll go out and play the Towns Cup and see how we get on, sort of a thing. Trying to get the squad back together, a bit of momentum under the belt as well. So they've been going hell for leather since, but they're only 80 minutes away from couple of medals, and particularly for the players like Doc and David O'Connor and a couple of the lads have been around a while. This is something that they really, really, really want. That loss against Enniscorthy a couple of years ago in Kildare as well, actually, hurt a lot of those fellas. So there's a lot of, particularly the older fellas, looking to probably bow out their careers with a medal.
I think James Blanchfield has been playing smoke and mirrors with us all year. He's disguised it. I think he's talking them down all year just to make him look bad, and then look how good we can be, and I've seen them play a good few times this year. He definitely wasn't playing smoke and mirrors, but yeah, 2014 was stung, 2015 was stung. The one when they played Ashbourne in Tullow in 2014 was the worst game of rugby I've ever watched in my life, and I've been at some J3 and J4 games, and this pips them. So. But look I said it to James yesterday, if any year where they can win it, it's probably this year. They're very, very strong. They're very driven. They have a good mix of youth and a good mix of experience. The likes of Wes Carter, Liam Caddy, Joe Manuel, Jake McDonald, they would have been there before. Doc would have been there before. So they would have the hurt of 2014 and 15. And I'd say if they go out and win it on Sunday, I'd say a lot of them fellas would tie the boots together and hang them up. So, look, I actually think this Sunday's going to be a cracking game. I think I really do think Kilkenny will win it, and I think they'll be comfortable. I don't think it'll be as tight as 2014 was.
Alright. Where's Ashbourne's weaknesses, Johnny, do you think?
Their squad, their age, like
Just-
these lads are around a
yeah.
long time. These lads in Ashbourne, you know, they're like up front. They're very, very physical. They're very, very strong. But out wide, Kilkenny have them tenfold. You know, they have the skill set, they have the strength, they have the passing ability, they have everything. Kicking range, like I said it in the commentary with you when we were down doing the quarter-final Carlow and Kilkenny, that Liam Caddy's probably one of the best fullbacks in junior rugby. And I stand by that. Like, he's a very good attacking fullback, so I think he'll offer a big threat. I don't think Ashbourne will be able to live with them out wide. You know, so
Yeah, they are pretty dangerous.
Yeah, when like we said it when they attacked against Carlow that time we were doing that game, they looked really, really dangerous. Whereas Carlow attacked and went 3 phases, and that's what Kilkenny can do. They can attack and they can keep building and keep building. They can go 7, 8, 9, 10 phases, no problem. They have that ability. Like, so I don't think Ashbourne will live with that.
Absolutely. Tom, what do you reckon?
I think I don't know. Ashbourne have a lot of experience there too. I'm hoping, I presume, I would take it that Kilkenny are having everybody back, and also the fact I think they lost one, drew one. I think was that I think they've got a win in the bag with them.
They beat them in Ashbourne, but even Kilkenny.
Was it a beat in Ashbourne and Ashbourne beat them? Yeah, look, Kilkenny are a very good side, and I think they have a little bit. They're making their own look as well. We all know, just talking to people, anyone that has experience of Towns Cups and has, even like when we had a good run of it, we would say that we weren't exactly the best rugby team either. It just, things clicked on the days, and the old saying goes, you kind of, it's better be a lucky general than a good general, and I think they have that little bit of luck on their side this year. They're making, well, luck is made, but I just looking at all their games coming in, everything's building towards this. Like, they played, you could see the experience. Like when they played us, we just lost out on that. You could see their experience across the park. They have those guys to hold the ball, to know when to let it go, to know when to hold it, to know when to kick for the touch, to know when to, they just have that. I think they're a very rounded team. I think they've got some superb players, but they're what the biggest sport they have is their team. They struggled a lot during the season, and I think that they've gained momentum, and they've pulled each other together. And talking to James and hearing, like, with James speaking each week, they've put up with the injuries, they put up with the COVID. They've had, one guy has just come back from injury, next month somebody else has gone out, and they're really unfortunate. But they seem to be on a complete momentum change, and just watching them, like watching the whole build up to the Carlow game, you could see that they're a well-rounded side. They know maybe Ashbourne might, I'm not 100% sure on the pack. Kilkenny, they managed to hold Dundalk. They knew that Dundalk had a strong team, but here's the man, the legend now, is going to talk us through everything. I'm building you up, James. I'm just saying what a rounded team, and you've all the hurt that happened during the season. That's all kind of built to get the momentums, that role, and you have that little bit. You're getting the rub of the green as well because you deserve it. You play well as a team, and I will hope that. I mean, fingers crossed. We're all praying that the Towns Cup will come back to the southeast, because that's we definitely don't want to see it going back up there. So no offense to Ashbourne.
No, you're right, Tom. Like, you've heard me all season harping on about injuries and about COVID, and that if we can get our full team on the pitch, that we're every bit as good as anybody. And I think we're proving that now. And like, for us, is what galvanised us so far is the last 20 minutes against Derry, but particularly the last 20 minutes in Kilkenny against Carlow. Like, that was nail biting stuff. And our lads, in fairness to them, they took everything that Derry could throw at them, which was significant. And then from what you could throw at them was absolute it was just, it was relentless for the last 20 minutes. But in fairness to the lads, they just stayed doing what they had to do. And, moments like that win matches, moments like that win leagues, and win cups. And I have to hand it to Doc and Steve and John Buckley, Ray Pembroke, Eamon Dooley. They don't try and force a culture on anyone. They've worked really hard to let everything be natural. And, everyone gets along very, very well. Like anything, we have our problems and we've had our problems. And the problems that we've had, the lads have worked hard at ironing out. Some commitment issues with some lads, that's been fixed to a degree. You still have the one or two lads that might need the boot in the arse, and they're in every squad. Talented guys who mightn't feel they have to train every week, but they're in every squad. And we're hoping this weekend that we can go up to Kildare and bring that cup back. Everyone that I'm talking to is rooting for us, but we're playing an Ashbourne team that's, they're on every bit of the journey as we are. Like, they've gone unbeaten since Christmas, since the turn of the year. So momentum, they have a lot of momentum going with them now, albeit, or they're not unbeaten. We beat them in Kilkenny, but they went on a serious run of games to put themselves in a position where they ended up from going bottom of the league to being fourth in the league. They've had a good cup run as well. They beat Mullingar in the semi-final. They're going to be gunning for us. They have a very strong front row. They have a very good, the best junior scrum half in Leinster and Gavin Kennedy. We need to be squeaky clean as well. Penalties for us have been, you saw the Kilkenny, Tom, when we played you. Discipline was poor. It was poor again last week against Dundalk. So we need to be squeaky clean, because look at Bernie White is refereeing the game. We know Bernie well, and Bernie knows us well, and we know what he doesn't like, and he knows us to know where we could be ill-disciplined. So, there has to be a balance there as well with the refereeing on this weekend, where we're managing the referee, because we had him once this year, and I said it on the podcast earlier on in the year, we felt a little bit aggrieved after the game, particularly the Gorey game. Things didn't go our way with some of the decisions that went against us. Now, we'd hope that we're coming into the game on Sunday with a carte blanche, and there's going to be no considerations for water that's under the bridge. But we're preparing really well for the game. It was a really good training session there on Tuesday night. Last Friday night was a very important session. And for Dave, it's going to be very hard for Dave and Steve tonight to sit down and pick their 20 for Sunday, because there's going to be a couple of disappointed guys.
That's great. That's great to have that depth that you have now, because we know, look, anyone that's been listening to the podcast all season knows the hardship that you've gone through. But look, we could see when you played us, that I was saying just before you come on, that you're very rounded across the park. The one thing you are is very rounded as a team. From, there's no absolute superstars on that team, but each one is talented. You have a serious amount of talent on the team, but they gel very well, and they actually are just saying, like, they know how to watch, and they know when to hold the ball, they know when to let it go. You have a good kicker, you have a good scrum, you have a niggly scrum half there.
He's good lad.
He is a good lad, and you're saying, like, you're up against a good scrum half, but like, your scrum half is as good as any scrum half there. He's like,
class.
He's a good player. You have a great, I think your backline is, Johnny was even commenting on the records, your backline will do it for you. I think you have a superb backline. I don't know, like, I can't say anything really particular about Ashbourne, so I haven't seen Ashbourne play in a long time, but I know they'll never be easy. They'll be a niggly team too. So, as you say, if you can keep your discipline and you get that little bit of rub of the green that you need, and we've said it, we've all talking to lads, from our teams of the past over the last couple of days, and like, everybody just wishes Kilkenny so well. The amount of goodwill from old Carlow players that played, back in the days, and when we were winning Towns Cups, they'll all tell you that, we weren't the best team. People all think that because Carlow won, the 5 Towns Cups, that they were this amazing team, but they weren't. They were just hard working and a great group of friends. That was the key, the key factor. They were good friends.
That's what it all
they
boils
worked
down
hard. Yeah.
It's hard work and camaraderie, and I was part of a team that won a Seconds Cup in 2005, and we had all kinds of demographics on it. I was 19, maybe 20. We had fellas who were Neil Campion, who was nearly 40. We had Billy Ayres, who probably was 40, or not far off it. But to this day, every single one of us are still good pals, and that's important. And I think that's what winning a Towns Cup together does. And I look back to the 86 team that won a Towns Cup with Kilkenny. Like you said, Tom, about your great team of the mid-90s to the late 90s that won all those cups. They're all still good buddies, and it's amazing what winning a cup together, it lasts forever. The legacy, the people, the names. Like, there's people knocking around Kilkenny Rugby Club who played in the 1986 Towns Cup final for us, and they're club legends. Most of them were on the 87 team, but nobody talks about the fellas who were on the 87 team that weren't on the 86 team. It's about being the cup winner. It's about being, we're doing a thing ourselves where we're looking back through all of our cup winning teams. There's only 5 of them from the 50s through to 2002. But 20 years is a long time for Kilkenny to go without winning a cup. It's a long time for a club like Kilkenny. It's even longer for Carlow. Clubs like Kilkenny, Carlow, we deserve to be winning cups every few years. It's because it's a tradition for us. Portlaoise or another one. We just have to get that. Getting that cup run together, and friends are made. Like, I look at Mick McGrath and Jerry MacDonald. They were on the 86 team together. Mark Crotty, Charlie Phelan, and Jimmy Gary, the Block Kelly. And they're legends of the game. It's like yourselves with Harry Sutherland, with Martin Dunphy, Donogh O'Brien, all these lads. They're all names that roll off the tongue in Carlow, and look, we're just hoping this Sunday now that we can do it. And look, we don't have a crystal ball to say that we're going to win it, but do we fear Ashbourne? Probably not. We owe them one. There's 6 guys in our team who have played in two Towns Cup finals and lost both of them in a row. They are so important to what we are doing this weekend, because they've been there, they've worn the pajamas. At the moment, the 6 of them are as cool as cucumbers, advising the younger guys who haven't been there before.
Yeah. Well, that's such an important. That's what I was saying. You can't, when you have a very young team. Like, you've complimented us, James, and what we've done over the season, and I'm looking at the same for Athy, very young sides coming through. But even I was talking to a guy from Athy last night, and I was congratulating him, on getting promotion and going to be in our league next year. And he just says, well, they hope that they stay, because it said they even had a younger team than us this year, and but they made a conscious decision to try and keep, try and get back homegrown players, and not to. I think the days, if we have to start relying on people, bringing in players like a lot of the clubs have done, and not from our area, but James, you know as well as I do, like there's teams out there who'll do anything to win, but we haven't done it. We stuck to our guns, and as I say, for us going forward next season, it'll be back down to retention is number one, to make sure that we have retained the fantastic group of lads that we have, regardless of talent or anything. They all worked as hard as each other this year, and we want to retain those and keep the momentum going for just that buzz that's in the club. And we'd love to be in that position. I'll tell you the truth, like, we're so jealous of you.
Oh yeah.
Like, anybody out there in podcast land that listens to this, I'm fortunate. I'm away at the weekend and I'm kicking myself. I would go to that match, but regardless, it's like, it's like going to an All-Ireland final for rugby at this level. It's always great banter. It's a great game, and I would recommend anyone to go, and especially anybody in the Southeast, let's come up and support Kilkenny, because we want to see it back in the Southeast and keep it down here. We have a strong tradition of it, and look, we represent each other. We represent the Southeast. We represent the Southeast as a team at youths, and you know, we used to represent as adults too, as sea lions. Maybe sometimes they might look at bringing that back to us and giving us a bit of crack again. But look, I'm jealous. I'd love to be James. I'd love to be. I'd love to be on the sideline cheering Carlow this weekend. I'm absolutely so jealous of you. But honestly, our whole club is 110 behind you. And
Yeah, no, look at it. Thanks.
And
Thanks for that, because I was chatting with Debbie Carty the other day.
President is a gent. Dave is an absolute gent.
He's a gas man. He's brilliant.
Yeah,
what Dave has done for our club, lads, is he's actually, Dave has been the galvanise that the club needed. You know, he everything he does with the best of intent for the club. People respect him, but one thing about Dave Matthews is he knows how to mix it with different people and when to mix it and how to do it well. You know, he's a great guy. But just speaking about the Southeast, I was chatting with Debbie Carty the other day. I think this is the 10th consecutive Towns Cup final where there's going to be a Southeast team in it. The tournament, realistically, for the last 10 years has been dominated by Enniscorthy, Tullow and Wicklow. So it's rare the cup has left the region. It went to Ashbourne in 2015. I think it might have gone to Dundalk at one stage as well.
Yeah.
Or Byrne, I'm not sure. But we're going to do everything we can to keep it back, to bring, well, not bring the Towns Cup itself back, but bring the old gimmick trophy that they give you instead of it back. But like, we're getting messages from lads who played for the club 20, 30 years ago wishing us the best, who are no longer in Kilkenny. And, you know, just on yourself, Tom, after the display you put in at Kilkenny and after the season you've had, with the players you have, I don't see any reason why in 12 months' time this won't be Carlow that we're talking about.
That's it. Fingers crossed. Well, James, the very best of luck on Sunday. We're carrying it live, of course, on KCLR with full live commentary, build-up analysis, post-match and all that. Keep an eye out for the big blue KCLR ice cream van that doesn't sell ice cream up there as well. Lads, been great talking to you on the podcast. Mind yourselves the weekend. There's tons of good rugby, including the Towns Cup final to look forward to, and it's great chatting to you as always. Johnny Tobin from Tullow was on the podcast with us a little earlier on as well. We're going to wrap it up there.
Thanks.